ready for another lesson?
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Back Row Banter, your favorite casual movie talk podcast where we talk about movies somewhat casually, somewhat pretty casually,
Tad
some
bit.
of the time. Yeah.
We'll dibble and dabble around. We've got a professor here with some expert opinions, and we got a few people who chime in.
That sums it up pretty well.
Always here to chime in.
That does sum it up pretty well. On today's episode, we have a lot of Disney news this week, both Star Wars and Marvel.
What? I didn't even hear about it.
And we kind of have trailer talk. We're gonna talk about the trailers that released. If you guys saw them, I watched most of them, and then not much on new to streaming. We'll get to what we're watching, and then our main review for the episode is gonna be Tu Mamá También, Nathaniel's pick.
That's right.
There you go. But before we get to any of that, I'm your host Adam Schwartz, and joining me today is Nutcracker Nathaniel. What's up?
Hello, 1 year older Nutcracker Nathaniel. That's right.
Yeah.
I exercised my birthday choice this time, so starting that trend.
Happy birthday!
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Happy belated as well. That's why he got to choose this movie, right? This was your
Yeah. That's
your birthday wish, quote unquote.
Yeah, exactly.
Hmm.
But yeah,
Nice. Well, also joining us is head of Curbside, Ty.
Oh, hey. I thought we got rid of that name.
No,
no,
you've been Curbside Ty, but you've been promoted to head of Curbside Ty.
Yeah, got it.
Yeah.
If Ty's a little bit distracted, you have to understand we're having a bit of an emergency here in the Gingrich Vidala's household, which the Xbox seems to be on, at least on life support right now. We don't really know what's going on with it. So,
and for the listeners, that's the new Xbox as well. So there's a ton of frustration with that, as you could imagine. So we're gonna.
And that's also what we run all of our media through. So you could imagine the pressure we're under here as we try and get things back online.
Yep. That's not a PlayStation 5 ad, by the way, that we're just saying the Xbox is having problems. We're not advocating for PS5s.
Even though we've both said, Blake, that we're probably getting PS5s first.
Yeah, that's actually what I'm going to try to order. Hopefully tonight or tomorrow morning, whenever they restock. We're going to see.
There you go.
We'll probably have no luck, but yeah.
If Sony wants to reach out and just provide us with a couple of review copies, we will take a look at them for them.
Sure. We'll do a full episode on the PS5.
The PS5 sniper over there is Snowcat Blake.
What's going on, fellas?
Not much, man. How's your week been?
Good, man. Pretty busy, but like I said, we're gearing up for the holidays, so
yeah.
Can't complain too much. We got enough sports on. There's football's on, basketball's back on.
Insane.
So,
yeah.
That's such a quick turnaround for those folks.
Yeah, they were actually. I was reading something on ESPN the other day, and I think they said from the time the finals ended, the two teams with the Lakers and the Heat, I think they had 7 weeks off before they started a new season, which is crazy for professional sports.
Yeah, it's
those people usually have probably 4 months off or something like that, 5 months off. But
who knows?
Yeah,
we'll 7 weeks. I feel like I could recover well enough in 7 weeks, but I don't know. Obviously, I'm not doing what they do, but
right.
I feel like if you relax enough in 7 weeks, and I don't know.
Man,
you're making money. You're making millions.
Fair enough. You almost can't complain, right? That's what
exactly.
they signed up for.
To play a sport, man. Fun as hell. Let's get into the news here, guys. So Disney had their Investors Day of 2020, and they announced a lot of stuff for both Star Wars and the MCU. We can start on the Star Wars side of things. So we are getting a Rogue One prequel show called Star Wars Andor.
Yeah, that's Andor. That's the Andor Calrissian, played by Diego Luna, who was
Yep.
in or
Who's in
and not
Ichiban.
Andor Calrissian. What is it? It's Andor or something. He's the one that's in Rogue One.
He's
Cassian Andor. That's his name.
Cassian. Yeah.
Cassian Andor. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a
That
crossover.
one. Yeah, that one I wasn't too sure how I felt about that one because it felt like his story had an ending already. So I don't know. It just seems a little weird. We got Star Wars Obi-Wan Kenobi will feature Hayden Christensen as Darth Vader. So the Obi-Wan Kenobi show is heading into production soon, or is they're still, at least they gave us an update on it. And it said Hayden Christensen will be reprising his role as Anakin Skywalker and playing basically Darth Vader. So
That's cool.
that's really cool. I'm excited for that. And also Ewan McGregor, who's great.
Yeah, no, I think that's been good. I think it's kind of funny. I think the kind of general fandom has come back around on Hayden Christensen in general. It seems to be that kind of everyone's decided that his performance in the prequels was not exactly his fault, and so we're ready to forgive him and allow him to come back to the fold here.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, I think it'll be cool, man. Disney's swinging for it for sure with all this stuff.
Yeah.
It's they're going big.
I mean, you almost
I like
have
a lot
to
of
with
the stuff,
everything
though.
that was coming out for HBO.
Yeah, I don't know if you're gonna address that at all. Have you seen any of kind of like the backlash around that, Aish, or anything?
I have not. No,
Yeah, so there's been quite a few people who have been pretty vocally.
I've seen a little bit of it on Twitter, but
Yeah.
not a ton. I haven't looked into it too much.
Well, the interesting thing is going to be the other people who put up money for films. So groups like, I think we might have talked about it a little bit, but
Talk
like
about Legendary.
Yeah, Legendary in particular, because and I don't know enough about this, but from what I've been hearing, it's kind of like if this is to go to court in any sort of way, because like though Warner Brothers is this kind of multi-billion-dollar entity, a lot of times they run quote unquote like in debt too. So it would break down a lot of different things on how stuff is going to be defined in court, and then that goes on records and stuff like that. So this, if Legendary does decide to sue and they decide that they have a big enough case on it, and things go a certain way, I guess it seems that this could be a pretty landmark kind of situation. Besides just being kind of a weird, shitty thing for Warner Brothers to do, in general.
Yeah,
but that's a different story entirely. So Disney's pulling out all the stops.
Well, yeah, let's continue there because I'm not even done yet. There's gonna be a Lando Calrissian. He's getting an event series. I'm not really sure exactly what that means. The Mandalorian.
Basically a limited series then. So it'll be like 8 episodes, and it'll be both Billy D and Donald Glover, and maybe there'll be flashbacks or something like that. And then like it won't have a second season. It'll just be that series.
Gotcha. And the Mandalorian is getting 2 spin-offs. So you'll have Star Wars Ahsoka, and then that's gonna be covering Ahsoka. Was it Ahsoka Khan?
It's Ahsoka.
Ahsoka. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's so funny, Ty?
I said don't put the sh in there.
My bad.
I see a glow on your face. Are we back in business over there?
Yeah, I wanted to add that, by the way. We are Xbox is up and running.
Hey, we've been resuscitated.
Oh my god. And then also a Star Wars Rangers of the New Republic.
Now this seems to be like the Gina Carano Gina Carano what's his Carl Weathers, possibly Bill Burr part of the series.
Possibly Bill Burr, because what we get to later is coming back into the fold in Mandalorian.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, so
cool.
Isn't the Mandalorian already a spinoff of Star Wars, right? Like that's not like in a that's nothing to do with like the original like movies, right?
Sort of.
No, but I mean that's kind of like the same way as that like.
Yeah, at this point, there's so many spinoffs that they're just not really even. You can't really say they're spinoffs.
It's more like Marvel at this point. It's like you have
exactly
have like everyone's kind of side stories too, which is I think. I mean, Disney doesn't miss. Disney if
Right.
Disney is deciding to put, because like my reaction having heard all of this news this week, I was like, oh my god, that's so much shit. I don't know if I want that much shit, but like
Mhm.
I think they don't miss. And if they think that the market is fertile for this amount of stuff, then they're probably right. Something about this kind of what they're building kind of reminds me of a little bit more like the CW style of
Okay. Yep. I'm
of
following
of
you.
of universe. I wonder if
Flash,
it's gonna be like
Supergirl,
that almost.
Arrow.
Yeah, I
Mhm.
have to think that those things just print them money too. Like something about like
Yeah, 100%.
the like level that they're using and the caliber of stars they have or something, and like their fan base is super devoted. I wonder if Disney's kind of trying to mimic some of that in some of this as well too.
I feel like they have to because I mentioned that article to you earlier this week where it was mentioning that there was going to be some pretty big crossover episodes between like Ahsoka and the Mandalorian, and that's exactly what those guys do. Like they have
Yeah,
their own set, like seasons or whatever it is, and then
yeah.
next thing you know it you see the Flash and Arrow, and then you see the Arrow and Flash, and I have a feeling that's probably what more or less this is going to become, which is great. I just, kind of hope what you said, it doesn't become something that's, too oversaturated. But again, like you said, Disney doesn't really miss, and they know when to hit the gas and pump the brakes, and I guess maybe it's just time.
Yeah, I think this might be kind of a nuts on the table move for them in also like backing Disney Plus, which has of kind of like the 3 or 4 giant streaming services definitely been the one that's like when it's hot, it's the hottest thing, but it seems to be burned very brightly and very kind of quickly. Like you have Mandalorian is I'm sure taking up a ton of screens. If they release something early like a Frozen or like an Onward, I'm sure that's quick. And then you had kind of like Hamilton and stuff, but there hasn't been a ton of like Netflix or YouTube or Hulu. That's the thing you turn on when you get home and you just have something playing in the background too.
Right.
That
Mhm.
I don't think Disney Plus has that place in people's kind of minds yet. So I think this is kind of also them announcing this as their intention to do that. Um, and kind of almost an answer to the HBO Max thing too, you can say, or you can argue, I suppose.
Yeah, I think they're putting out. You're right. You think you put the nail on the head where you said they burn brightly, but kind of go out really quickly, and then then no one really pays attention to them. But I don't think that means people are unsubscribing from Disney Plus. I've kept mine since I've got it.
Oh
I
yeah,
think yeah,
it's priced right for that. Like
yes, it's priced fantastically.
I think they know exactly what they have with it. Again, as we've said, Disney doesn't miss. Disney knows exactly
Yeah,
what's going on
and
with this
and the
stuff.
original content on the platform is really good, and
Yeah.
I think it's better than Netflix, and to an
Kinda
extent better than
currently. Yeah, it's
yeah.
been weird when Netflix I remember for a while, Netflix was kinda like, "Wow, Netflix really doesn't," they don't miss a whole lot either, and then it was kinda like they just started buying everything.
They oversaturated their own
Yeah.
market for no reason.
100%, man.
Yeah.
100%, Adam.
Next one? Or were there still
Yeah,
more stories in there?
there's still more.
Okay.
There's also gonna be a Star Wars: The Bad Batch, which I guess is a spinoff of Star Wars: The Clone Wars. So,
Okay.
You guys know the
that's
background of that?
I do not.
Are they bad clones or are
They're not
they
really bad clones. They're just kind of like the first series of clones that started thinking for themselves and didn't really follow orders, and
so are
they were actually kind of made differently. Like they have different body types. One's like really big, and but yeah, they essentially call them the Bad Batch, and it's the best way and easiest way to describe it for somebody that doesn't know what that is basically it's like their Suicide Squad. They're not like criminals or anything like that, but they're like their most expendable guys because they're just like they're fucking nuts and they don't really care.
they're the prototypes
So
then?
right. So
Are they is that where like Rex and Cody are now in universe?
no.
Okay.
Rex and Cody are just kind of out doing their own thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Maybe I need to catch up on other stuff to find out what's
You
going on with
should,
that.
man. Anybody that hasn't watched Clone Wars, it's definitely worth a watch all the way through. There are like certain lists that you can get to kind of weed through all the other stuff that you necessarily don't need to watch. But if you have the time and you're looking for something to watch, Clone Wars is absolutely awesome all the way through.
Now, the other thing I heard that they announced too, Aish, was a Rogue Squadron movie.
I was just about to get to that. Yeah, so Patty Jenkins, who's Wonder Woman, the director of Wonder Woman, I believe both of them, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. She also did Monster.
Okay, yeah. So she'll be directing this one. It's a Rogue Squadron movie, so that's I don't even really know the background behind Rogue Squadron. Are you guys familiar?
Fighter pilots. So the
Yeah,
Rogue
well, yeah,
Squadron.
I know. Sorry, probably should give it the premise. It is going to be like a fighter squadron, of X-wing pilots and I'm assuming A-wing and Y-wing and all that stuff. Um, I'm really excited for this because that's my favorite part of Star Wars is the space
Yeah,
battles and spaceships and stuff. And I love Rogue Squadron, the game that just came out, or not. I
yeah,
don't know if Squadrons. Sorry, just Star Wars Squadrons. That game is really really fun. Um, I'm excited for this movie. And then they with the announcement of the movie, they talked about how Patty Jenkins' father was a fighter pilot, and that kind of inspired her to tell an exciting story about a fighter squadron, and this one excites her or whatever. It was kind of a nice little video. But I'm really excited for this. I'm sure she'll do a good job with it.
yeah.
'Cause
I'm both happy
I'm
and
on board.
dismayed.
Yeah.
I thought, yeah, I'm super jazzed for this. I'm also slightly sad because I said I'd always said if I ever got to direct a Star Wars movie, I would do an absolute ragtag fighter pilot movie because that's my favorite. Like when I think Star Wars as a kid, I think of the Death Star trench run.
Yeah.
Like that is just it was never really the lightsaber battles for me. Like those were
For
definitely
me,
very
it's always
cool,
been
but
space battles.
it
Yeah.
was always been the X-wing fighter run for me. So like I'm in the same boat as you, Aish. I'm very excited to see this. But yeah.
All right, so that's gonna be just about it for Star Wars. It's a lot on there, and a lot of that's coming to Disney Plus. So that's a lot of good content that'll be coming up. And they haven't really given release schedules or release windows for a lot of this stuff. But
I can figure
um,
it's got to be mostly 2022 and beyond.
yeah, yeah. But it's stuff to look forward to nonetheless. So moving on to MCU. Um, let's see. There's gonna be a Secret Invasion starring Samuel L. Jackson, Nick Fury, and Ben Mendelsohn. So that's the follow-up kind of to Captain Marvel. That's that's the Secret Invasion storyline is the Skrulls.
Scrolls.
Skrulls, sorry. They come in and just pretend to be humans, right?
For the most part, yeah.
Yeah.
In the comics, they have traditionally been a villain. In the movies, the MCU cinematic universe, they've been actually depicted more as kind of a refugee thing in opposition of what most people know them as. So it'll be interesting to see that kind of expanded further.
Yeah. There's gonna be an Ironheart show, I guess, show or movie.
Yep.
Yeah. Armor Wars starring Don Cheadle's War Machine.
I imagine
So-
Ironheart will also cross over with that.
yeah. Baby Groot, which is a series that's going to be animated. It's going to kind of be revolving around the tiny Guardian of the Galaxy. And then there's going to be a Guardian of the Galaxy holiday special written and directed by James Gunn and slated to debut holiday of 2020. And then there's a
2020
bunch
or
of
2021.
I'm sorry, 2022.
Okay, I was like, whoa.
Very far away. I'm sorry, I forgot the 2 on the end there. I'm just so used to saying 2020 at this point. Kevin Feige, he gave a release window for a lot of stuff. There's Falcon and the Winter Soldier coming out in 2021. In March of 2021. Loki in May of 2021, and then the What If series, it's gonna be the animated series where they're swapping out different storylines, basically. So like, what if I think one of them is what if Captain America was female?
Yeah, well, she's Captain Britain. It's Peggy Carter.
That's what it is. That's what it is. I'm sorry.
The what if?
I knew it was something like that.
Yeah, the what if storyline is pretty. It's been around for a while. This is something they do in the comics a lot.
Gotcha.
Just certain kind of what if one shot kind of offbeat. What if someone had this and this? So this is by no means a new thing for them. There's a lot of like kind of fun storylines that they can adapt that it looks like they have. So certain things like the Marvel zombies and everything. That was a pretty big what if storyline from a few years back. So it's cool to see them adapting some of this too. And I like that they've gone with the framing device of the Watcher too, which is really exciting. Who we've kind of seen hinted at before. So Definitely cool stuff coming from Marvel in this too.
Yeah, for sure. And then Tatiana Maslany is gonna be playing the lead role in She-Hulk,
Very excited
which
for this one too.
which is gonna be with Mark Ruffalo and Tim Roth.
That's cool.
So, yeah.
Yeah, that
Couple
would be
Hulk.
cool.
And then a Fantastic Four movie is confirmed to be in development.
Oh, jeez.
With the with the Spider-Man Homecoming director John Watts attached to direct. I'm excited for this, guys.
No, wasn't like Fantastic Four the first superhero movie you ever watched or something?
It was one of them. Love those
Okay.
movies, though.
I mean, yeah, you were 4 when they came out, so that makes
Right,
sense.
you're
I
talking
was like
about
5
the
and I was like 5 and
with
7.
Chris
so
Evans,
fine.
right? As
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
Chris
Human
Evans
Torch, and
as Human Torch and
Jessica Alba and all those guys. Yeah,
Mhm.
and I actually don't mind those movies.
They were like that last dying gasp of superhero movies before it was like them, and then like within months Dark Knight came out, and then after that Iron Man came out, and it was game over for that
Yeah.
style of like
Mhm.
superhero movie.
Right.
Yeah.
And then their reboot of that Fant Four Stick, and what was that 2015, 2016?
Yeah, that's atrocious.
That movie is horrendous.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it. Don't plan on
Yeah.
watching it.
Long
Don't.
history of studio interference and just wild antics on that movie. Look it up if
Yeah.
anyone's ever interested in something like that. You can kind of
Yeah.
find out about it.
Miles Teller is fucking shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, Fantastic Four. I mean, great story. I mean, if they can pull it off, I think it'll be really cool to see, because I just don't think that team has gotten the amount of traction they should get, like in a cinematic way.
sure.
But they're fighting an uphill battle with these guys. I think a lot of
Yeah, I
people are
mean,
kind of worn out on the Fantastic Four. Like, you're already
It's-
going in with low expectations.
The old joke is like the best Fantastic Four movie has always been The Incredibles, because it's the same power set, just
Right.
just switched around again amongst different people.
I mean,
And like, yeah, they're not wrong. So
yeah, they're not wrong.
but
Not at all.
Marvel will nail this. Like, what are we even
I'm
worried about?
excited because I really like. I have a lot of nostalgia for the Fantastic Four because you're right; they were like one of the early on
I
superhero
mean-
movies I watched. So I'm excited for a good take of them because
Yeah,
I
I
know that
mean-
Marvel handle them well.
Fantastic Four has a huge cachet with comic book nerds. I mean, that's
sure.
for a while. That's what Marvel Comics was built on, was the Fantastic Four. So the audience is definitely still out there for this.
For sure. All right, and then let's see. There's a few more announcements about Ant-Man stuff, Doctor Strange stuff. Doctor Strange will be the Multiverse of Madness will be connected to the events of Spider-Man 3, which we also have some news about. Black Banter or Marvel won't recast T'Challa, so they will not be recasting anybody for Chadwick Boseman after he passed.
And they're not going to do CGI. They've confirmed either. So I think it probably means that
I think that'd be a terrible choice if they did.
No, I think what it'll mean, it'll be the Black Panther mantle will just be like shared between people or something like that.
Mhm. Yeah, and then it's gonna be Black Panther 2 is set to release July 8th, 2022.
Cool.
Yeah. And then there's a bunch of other stuff, some small stuff. Indiana Jones 5 is in production. There's gonna be a new Alien series coming out.
Captain Marvel 2, I think they announced.
Yeah.
the
And
two.
then the other thing is there's gonna be a Toy Story prequel called Lightyear with Chris Evans to voice Buzz Lightyear.
But it's gonna be about the show that Buzz Lightyear is based off of. So like, it's because the toys in the Toy Story universe are based off of shows in that universe. So like, Woody is from Woody's Roundup, Buzz Lightyear is from the Buzz Lightyear show. So this new show or movie about Buzz Lightyear is the storyline of that show in the Toy Story
Oh, okay.
universe. Yeah.
That's cool.
I don't mind that, and I like Chris Evans. I think that he'll do a good job.
Yeah,
Oh, I
for
think
sure.
it'll be interesting.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yep. So that's pretty much gonna be it. We'll move on to our next news story.
The big one is that the
Big one. What big one are you referencing?
So the Spider-Man one.
Yeah. That was the next one. I don't know if that's necessarily the big one, but Spider-Man 3, Alfred Molina returning as Dr. Octopus. So for the new Spider-Man, the third Spider-Man movie, the Tom Holland Spider-Mans, the one that's been confirmed that Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield will be coming back, along with Kirsten Dunst was announced she'll be coming back as MJ in some form. And then who else? There's one person missing. Jamie Foxx is the other one. So Doc Ock from the original Tobey Maguire Spider-Man 2.
Yep.
He's coming back.
Yep.
So I'm very, very excited for this.
Yeah, they're just doing Spider-Verse at this point. Like we all kind of know this.
For sure.
Yeah.
And I'm sold on that, man. I mean, I like the Spider-Man films.
I was thinking about it today. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no worries. I would say in terms of them bringing back Alfred Molina for Doc Ock, I mean, that's probably my favorite Spider-Man movie, you know? So yeah, I'm sold, dude. They got everybody in there. They got Tobey Maguire coming back, Andrew Garfield. I think this is gonna be a home run.
Yeah. I was just thinking about it today, and I was really excited to think about it because I'm excited to see Tobey Maguire come back as Spider-Man because he's my OG Spider-Man. I mean, even before Fantastic Four, I was watching the original Spider-Man. So love him. I just got a ton of nostalgia for him. He's by no means the best Spider-Man. That belongs to Tom Holland, in my opinion, but still got a lot of nostalgia for it. So that'll be fun.
Yeah, I'm just kind of concerned, I guess, a little bit in some ways. It just feels like I almost wish this was spread across like 2 movies, maybe. And I just don't know.
It does seem big.
I just don't know with Tom Holland's current contract situation if we're gonna get something like that, you know? Because like with what they set up in the final 5 minutes of Far From Home, that's a whole enough movie plot wise just based off that kind of revelation. And then to also be kind of pulling in Spider-Verse into this is like, is it going to be, okay, well, we get 20 minutes with Toby and then 15 minutes with Andrew. And then, and then if that's kind of the last time we see Tom Holland in the full MCU, I'm a little concerned on time restraints and how much they're packing into this. But again, Marvel has earned my trust at this point, so we'll wait back and see how go from there.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. They really have earned my trust, and you bring up a lot of good points, and I think they're valid points that you should be concerned about. But at the end of the day, it's Marvel, and I trust them to do the right thing with this kind of thing. If it was Sony,
I'm sorry. Go ahead, man.
I was gonna say if it was Sony, I don't trust them to handle Spider-Man. But
do they have a release date for the Spider-Man film?
Let me see if it's in the story.
That might have been the last slate that they were talking about. I can't remember.
Yeah.
December 17th, 2021 is when it's expected to release.
Okay. It's about a year.
I mean, if it's filming now, that sounds about right.
Yeah. For sure.
It is filming now. There have been set photos and stuff. Yeah, so I think that's gonna be just about it for news today. We can go to trailer talk. So there were some trailers for a lot of the stuff that came out that we talked about earlier, the Star Wars and MCU stuff. Dave, have you guys watched any of that stuff? Nathaniel, I'm assuming you have.
Watched me and Tyler, a couple of us, we watched the Loki trailer, I think we watched the What If trailer, and then also there was one other trailer that we saw too, I thought.
I don't remember.
We saw the footage for Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I have not seen.
All look great. All look, movie quality. I didn't see any of really the Star Wars stuff, but I mean, after seeing Mandalorian, I know it's going to be awesome too. Yeah, I mean, Disney will know what they're doing, and they've got a lot of money, and they've got a lot of like the fact that we get this, that you can get the quality of special effects and movie imagery that they are putting out onto a streaming service is insane. Like Disney has to take a loss on that somehow, or they've just perfected movie technology. And which, if they have, and they're making that quality of movie on like typical TV effects budgets, then that's really exciting because that means that the availability of this kind of stuff may be coming more openly
widespread.
available, as we go. So
Mhm.
either way, it's interesting.
Yeah. So the trailers though.
Sorry, I kind of turn that into
You're
a
good.
teaching point again.
All good.
Did you
what do you
see?
guys
Did you
think?
see? Yeah, did you see any of the other stuff? Loki, I
I
think, looks
saw
kind of most interesting in a weird way.
Loki looks really interesting. Looks like it's gonna be almost kind of like a. I don't even know how to explain what it looks like. I'm
Umbrella
interested.
Academy in some
Yeah,
way.
something like that. Yeah. The Marvel, or sorry, the Captain America, the Falcon Winter Soldier. Jeez, Falcon Winter Soldier looked good as well.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
excited
haven't
to bring
seen
back.
that one. You're saying that one looks promising?
Yeah, I like the trailer. I think both is it Anthony Mackie
Yep.
and Sebastian Stan, they're both really good.
Right. So they're reprising their roles.
Yep.
See, have you ever seen the thing where people want Sebastian Stan to play like a younger Luke Skywalker?
Mm-hmm.
He looks
Yeah.
exactly like him. Like they could
I can
definitely
see
do
it. I can see it.
that. Like if they ever wanted to fill in some of those years in there, just that guy's like a dead ringer. Like you could even maybe tweak his face a little bit in post production if you wanted to make it more Mark Hamill like, but like he is pretty close.
He is. He's in a movie in my what we're watching today. We'll get to that.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. I forgot what I was gonna say.
We're talking trailers. We were talking
Yes,
Loki, and then we were talking Falcon and Winter Soldier. Glad to see they're leaning more into like that political thriller style. I think that worked
Yeah.
incredibly well for Captain America.
Mhm.
You know, if they want to keep kind of rolling with that, I think that totally makes sense. We watched the WandaVision new trailer too. That I'm also really excited for.
I'm really
That
excited for that
seems,
as well.
just like I love what they're doing with these kind of series where they seem to be allowing the creatives in the company to just kind of push boundaries and do more kind of weird stuff with it. That's really exciting. So,
Mhm.
yeah, those are kind of my thoughts around the trailers and stuff.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think Falcon Winter Soldier was my favorite that I saw, but I really am excited for all the MCU stuff. The Star Wars stuff was really interesting. I would say we didn't get too much of a great look at anything in Star Wars because it's all pretty early on, but I'm very excited for Rogue Squadron. Of all the announcements today, Rogue Squadron is probably what I'm most excited for because, like we were talking about earlier, it's my favorite part of Star Wars. So
That's cool.
yeah,
Yeah,
Ty?
I mean,
Oh,
yeah,
go ahead, Blake. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sold on most of this stuff. As Nathaniel keeps saying, hell, man, it's hard to like not get up for anything Marvel at this point. You know, like you, especially anybody who's a movie buff, especially us four. I mean, they put a trailer out, you watch them, okay, that's exactly what I would expect. They have my money, you know. And I haven't seen all the trailers, so I'll have to get around to it. I have to see the Winter Soldier one, or what's it, Falcon and
Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
yeah, Winter Soldier one. I have to see that. But everything else, I'm in on. Star Wars, that stuff still's kind of digging over my head a little bit.
We're gonna have to get. You know what, Blake? We're gonna have to get you there one day, man.
I know, man. I know.
We will. We will.
I'm gonna get there somehow, some way. I'll find a way.
There's got to be at least one show out of all of those that you're like, hey, this is kind of interesting at some point.
Yeah.
You know?
And to be honest, and I think the show might actually be like the easy way in.
That's true.
You know, like if I can find a show that at least fits that niche that I need, and then just run from there, and then maybe going back to the catalog of the old films, and we'll see what's going on. But I know your guys' trivia is definitely getting me intrigued. I'm already a fan of this Baby Yoda gentleman.
Yeah. So speaking of Baby Yoda, we can get into our what we're watching, but I think before we do that, you want to do it beforehand now?
Yeah, we could do that. That was a good
All right.
segue into it. So
Sure. Yeah.
every week, listeners, if you're just tuning into us, Blake, as you might have surmised, does not have a lot of good context for Star Wars. In fact, he's only seen one of said Star Wars. So, and he doesn't even remember that much about it. So each week, the three of us catch up on the newest episode of Mandalorian, and we try and test Blake by giving him two truths and a lie? No, two lies and a truth.
Correct.
So we're gonna give out 3 different scenarios of things that may have happened on this week's episode of Mandalorian, and Blake in the blind has to try and guess which one of us is telling the truth and which one of us is lying to him. So I think we're all caught up for this week's episode, right, guys?
Yep, I am.
I mean, we watched together, so
That's true. So this week, Blake, I guess I'll go first. So you can choose from A, Boba Fett, who was reintroduced last week. Oh, spoilers, by the way, guys. If you aren't joining us for the first time, Blake doesn't really know because he doesn't have any context. But this is a spoilered section. So if you don't want to know anything about these episodes, don't listen to this bit. Come back. So Boba Fett, who was in last week's episode, his staff is revealed to be a double-bladed lightsaber.
Okay.
At one point, a ship drops a seismic charge to blow up 2 other ships at the same time.
Okay.
All right, and you got Grogu, which is Yodeler. He force smacks 2 stormtroopers together, and then proceeds to force choke the stormtroopers to death.
So, like, by force smacks, do you mean like he does this?
Sorry,
and
he's force
Bitch slaps
smash,
him.
force smash.
Right, where he can like
Yeah, he
telekinesis
smacks
thing, right?
Yeah, he lifts them up and smashes them
Or I
together.
kind of like the idea that he like reaches through the force and then just like
Bitch slap. Yeah.
like
I'm okay with that.
Yeah, that's tough. I mean, my gut is telling me to go with Tyler's as truth. That just seems like a very Star Wars-esque thing of a ship to drop some type of charge or bomb or something on other ships, I should say, excuse me. As far as Nathaniel's, I mean, I think I would probably need a little more backstory on the gentleman that, like, who is the gentleman that you're referencing? I mean, is that somebody of relevance to the story, or is that?
Sure. Yeah, I guess that's true. Boba Fett was always kind of considered like this, like crazy. He's also a bounty hunter. He looks like the Mandalorian, very similar because he wears Mandalorian armor, and he's been disappeared for the last 25 years or so. But we don't really know what he's been up to, and he's always had kind of like weird artifacts and that kind of thing. So yeah, that's kind of the idea. He has this, and he has the staff. And this week, it was shown that on the ends of it, they turn into lightsabers, or they are lightsabers.
I think I'm gonna stick with Tyler still.
Well, you'd be correct. It was Tyler. And what a moment it was. My gosh, you should have seen the 4 like mid-20s to late 20s gentlemen sitting on the couch.
You're the only one in their 20s.
All right, fair enough.
Yeah, so it was actually really funny. It was me, Justin, Foley, and Nathaniel, and it was just like this epic moment. So in some of the other in one of the other movies, Boba Fett's ship, it's called the Slave One, drops these little seismic bombs out of the back of the ship, and it blows up these asteroids to kind of create a like a distraction, or something like that. And essentially what happens is we're all like sitting on the couch, and
it makes these crazy sounds.
The sound bar, it's up loud, and we're all into it. And so he's flying away, and the sound that this makes is like a wow.
It's a guitar strum.
Yeah,
but it's really loud.
And so he's flying away, and Nathaniel just goes like, "Do the wow, do the wow." And so we're all like, and then I go like, "The seismic charge," and he's like, "Yeah." And so sure as shit, the back of his ship opens, and it lets out one of these little things, and then there's always like this moment of silence right before it happens, because it's like, a seismic charge.
Right.
And it's definitely breaking the sound barrier. So there's like this calm before the storm that comes over the living room, and there's like nothing happening. You can hear everything, and it's just completely dead silent. And then this big wow goes off, and the 4 of us are like standing up. We're like, "Whoa!" It was hilarious.
I'm gonna play it for you.
It literally made me feel like I was like watching that scene for the first time again.
There it is. Did we hear it?
Yeah, play that again one more time, man.
Hold on.
Put it around the pop filter.
Did it come through?
It's
No,
choppy.
Maybe
just
not.
a
All
little-
right, it's just
yeah.
too loud, or yeah, it might be too weird. But go look that up. It's a
Okay.
really weird sound, and I was very excited to hear it again. And it was
No.
yeah, it was very fun. It was a great moment.
Fair enough.
It was epic.
Oh, you know what? We skipped over new to streaming.
It's Ma Rainey's Black Bottom coming out on Netflix. It's Chadwick Boseman's one of, if not his last performance in which he's actually on screen.
Ah.
I think his actual last performance is going to be in the What If series when he's when that gets broadcast out later. And then Chapter 16 of The Mandalorian is coming out next week, which I think is the final episode for this season. So there you go, new to streaming, gang.
Yeah, it should be the season finale. All right. Yeah, we can get into what we're watching. Nathaniel, Ty.
I have been I've been continuing Cowboy Bebop, which is an anime from late 90s, early thousands. Very, very cool. Very, very stylized space neo-noir. Really, really interesting, but enjoying it a lot. I burned through Demon Slayer, which is another anime that is about a boy whose family is killed by demons and his sister becomes one, so he decides to hunt down the demons. Very swords, and it's like set in, I think, like 18th century Japan or something like that. So it's very tied into the folklore over there too. I'm doing a bad job of explaining it, but really, really cool, very stylized. If you like anime, it's done beautifully well. I think a lot of people who are into anime know about it already. But yeah, really, really interesting. Enjoying that. What else did I watch? So yesterday, the 13th was my birthday, so I took the day off. I woke up in the morning and watched what is a kind of a Christmas classic in my family that we make sure we watch every year. So I watched Home Alone, the first one. Great movie, incredible. Just like it's a movie where a lot of things came together at exactly the right time, and it just worked out really, really well. So I love that movie. Then I was also kind of bored during the day, so I decided to watch something that I'd seen before. Um, and so I just noticed they put it on Netflix, and that's Ink Master. So I remember that coming out and in like the late thousands or whatever, whenever it first came out, and the idea that people would go in and get real tattoos done by people competing on a reality show was like the most insane thing in the world to me. But then I think I was like homesick from school one day, and I just ended up watching all the episodes, and I felt grimy, but also was fascinated by tattooing. And that's kind of what got me into that world and a little bit more, and was kind of my access into it. So, watched a couple episodes of that yesterday too. And then the last thing that I watched, not with Ty, was a documentary ish called you may have heard of it before though, but it's called Dear Zachary.
Yeah, I have heard of that.
Yeah, so I think the full
I don't think
title
I've seen it.
yeah, the full title is Dear Zachary, a letter to his son about his father. And the story around it is I mean, it's an insane story. It's worth a watch. Definitely is designed to create as maximum emotional impact as possible. But it is definitely a crazy movie. The kind of central story is that the
Here, I can read the IMDb's
yeah,
one
go ahead.
sentence summary here. A filmmaker decides to memorialize a murdered friend when his friend's ex-girlfriend announces she is expecting his son.
Yep. So it's basically a documentary filmmaker going around and collecting stories about this guy who has passed on for his son who has yet to be born. But then it goes nuts. So definitely watch that. Definitely a emotional ride. It's on Amazon Prime, I want to say.
To be as well, I guess.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. But yeah, Tyler, kick it over to you. What do you got, bud?
Literally nothing. I mean, we've continued to watch Friends. Like I said, we're gonna be watching that for a little bit now, so I'm not really gonna get into that All I can tell you is we're on season 3 now. And then we did a couple more episodes of The Blood of Zeus, which I'm pretty sure we should be wrapping up relatively quick. Yeah, I think there's only a couple episodes left, and then honestly, I with work and everything, I come home and I play Valhalla if I have time at night, or
For sure.
if I have time in the morning, I'll literally play in the morning. I think I only had like less than an hour this morning, and I still came out to the living room and played because Leah was doing a final. So I was like, literally any time that I can find that I have free by myself, I am probably playing Valhalla.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
But yeah, other than that, it's a really good game. Not watching a whole lot. I'm sure we'll get into some other stuff this week. We definitely do have some movies that we're kind of looking forward to. So yeah, not a whole lot for me.
Yeah, I mean, and I'll kind of clean up after Tyler as well. I'm on the same boat. I mean, I had a pretty long week myself. I can only think of getting to 2 movies. Obviously, just YouTube's like my primary source. But I'll just kind of be on there, just have something running in the back. Whether it's video game gameplay, right? Music, whatever it may be, sports, interviews, anything. Movie wise, though, is the only stuff I did get to. I watched Knocked Up. I think it was Friday night when I was bored at home, scrolling through Hulu because they had Superbad, and then the recommended after that was Knocked Up, and I watched Superbad all the time, and I was like, wow, I haven't seen Knocked Up in a long time, and that was pretty good. It's still funny to me, you know. I mean, it's 2007. The movie's 13 years old, and it still kind of holds up well. Seth Rogen is just still funny in everything he does. Jonah Hill, all those guys are in there as well. Paul Rudd's in there. He plays like so he plays pretty much, how can I word it? The lady Seth Rogen gets knocked up. That's going to be Katherine Heigl.
Yeah.
Her best friend's husband is Paul Rudd, and that's something I didn't even realize till I rewatched it the other day. I was like, "Holy shit, they got Paul Rudd in this movie!"
Yeah, it's like the whole gang's in that.
Yeah, it does.
Paul
man.
Rudd
Yeah.
shows up in some random movies sometimes, and
For
sometimes you're
sure.
just like, "Oh shit, that's Paul Rudd."
I think it's
Yeah.
just because, like, if you just saw Paul Rudd walking down the street, you'd be like, "Hey, come hang out." Like, no one doesn't want him around.
Yeah.
And he would probably say yes.
Yeah,
You probably would. That's the
I
thing.
feel like he doesn't actually go to work. He just like walks down to the studio, and they're just like, "Oh my god, Paul Rudd's here today, dude! Come on, come get,
Right.
Yeah,
come get my
like,
movie."
literally,
Yeah,
like
right.
the character he plays in Yes Man is like who he is in real life.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Or the one in Forgetting Sarah Marshall.
Yeah.
I forgot he's in that as well. So you said that. So yeah, nonetheless, this was just kind of a funny movie I put on Friday. I just kind of fell asleep to it, but yeah, that was good. Got a few laughs in there. And then the other movie I got to, I think it might have been like Tuesday, after work, and I ended up getting home from the gym, and I just wanted to have something to put on. I put on Doom. That was on
Ooh.
Netflix.
With The Rock.
The Rock,
Yeah,
Earl
yeah.
Urban.
Hilarious, bro.
Yeah, and that's just a movie that's like a super childhood movie of mine. Like I remember watching that all the time when I was little, staying up on like sci-fi, you know.
Those
at, like,
games scare the
midnight.
shit out of me.
Yeah. So yeah, I ended up watching that. I don't think the movie's the greatest by any means.
No.
The Rock has a character turn that's just like completely out of the blue, where he's like the sergeant, and then he just ends up being, you know what, well,
evil
fuck that.
now.
Let's just kill everybody. Yeah. So it's weird, but they nailed that first person scene stuff that they have at the end is super dope though. And I don't even think I've seen anything like that since then.
Yeah, Hardcore Henry is the only thing I could think of that
Yeah.
they did that for. Like,
Oh, that
the
is,
whole
yeah.
thing.
I haven't seen that. How is that? Because that
apparently it's
entire
fine.
movie's first
It's
first
a
person, right?
ride, man.
Yeah, I heard it either gives you a headache or you think it's fine.
For sure.
Yeah. Yeah, it's nothing to like.
That's
You
about
have
what
to
I've
go
heard as
out and
well.
see.
Yeah. But so yeah, that's all I saw. Maybe I'll try to get to Hardcore Henry, because I definitely forgot about they did that first person thing. But that's after Doom though, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
for sure.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Way
I think
after.
that might have been like when I was in high school, Hardcore Henry. But yeah, those are the kind of 2 things I got to. Outside of that, some YouTube, things of that nature. What about you, Adam? You'll probably have a longer list than me and Ty.
You would think so, but finishing up the
Finals
semester has
killing
not
you?
been fun. Yeah, last
Yeah.
week is my last week of classes, and this week is finals, so I haven't had a ton of time. Today, or not today, the other day, I got to I, Tanya.
I
Ooh.
haven't seen that yet. Is it good?
Oh, it's really good. I haven't seen it since I saw it in theaters. That was 2018, I believe.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah, but that was it was really good. I don't know how much I believe the story that the movie portrays. Knowing what I know, knowing what I've heard outside of that movie, but still good. Margot Robbie's great. Sebastian Stan, that's the movie I was talking about that he's in.
Mhm.
Oh,
he's
yeah,
in.
yeah.
So definitely worth a watch. I believe it's on HBO Max, maybe.
It's either that or
It's
Hulu. It's like always on Hulu.
it's somewhere. And then watched Mandalorian, got caught up there. These last 2 episodes have been awesome. This season's been incredible. The season's been really, really good.
I
Been
feel like
great.
it's really coming into its own a lot, and
Yeah.
it's definitely stepped more fully into the Star Wars universe. I feel like the first season was almost like they kept it at a distance on purpose, so
Mhm.
that they could like kind of create a little bit more new fans, and now they're kind of bringing everyone more fully back into the fold.
Yeah, for sure. Of course, they have to have Pedro Pascal's one season, once per season little face reveal.
I think they're building to him being around more. Again, spoilers for all this stuff.
I think it was done so well too, though.
Oh yeah, like the character
Yeah.
build to that thing. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, and the way that they like did it and did the reveal and like you had your own build up and your own suspicions. It was done really well. I was very happy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was done well, but it's just funny because I feel like it's expected for a character, but they play up how much his character doesn't want to take it off. But like we all kind of know he's going to. So
It's Chekhov's gun.
Mhm.
Chekhov's gun. It's a old playwriting technique. Basically, it's called Chekhov's gun or Chekhov's revolver, which is basically that if a gun is introduced in the first act, then it has to go
I've
off,
heard of this.
in the third act. So anytime in a
Mm.
movie something is called attention to as something that never happens or is very rarely going to happen, that thing then happens in the third
Oh
act.
yeah,
Of the movie.
yeah, that happens all the
So-
time. Yeah, no, I notice that all the time, and that you know what, we'll get to in a little bit. I noticed it in Tu Mamá También. So,
I was wondering if Detective Sleuth Adam was going to show up this episode.
he's always here. I watched about 3/4 of Hamilton. Didn't finish it, but worth mentioning. That's probably like my fifth or sixth viewing on Disney Plus. It's been a while. It's been since the summer that I've watched it, so want to revisit it recently. And the other thing I've been watching a lot of college basketball, and then Mizzou football and basketball have been great. Mizzou football lost to Georgia pretty badly, but it is what it is. I wasn't expecting to win that, but then we beat Illinois by they were number 6. We were unranked, and now we were ranked 16 because of our win. So that was exciting. It was a really good game to watch. And then I've been throwing out some other college football games just to have on in the background. Or sorry, college basketball games to have on the background.
That was
So,
another what we were watching. There was a huge UFC fight this weekend. It was great. I loved it. Tyler and I
There
watched
was, man. There was some really good fights.
Yeah.
I guess that's something we watched.
it. Yeah. But anyways, so on to the main topic time.
yes, sir.
The main
Uh,
event.
Nathaniel,
That's me.
why don't you give the listeners who are new here or may have forgotten a rundown of our review segment here at Back Row Banter?
Yes. So if you're joining us for the first time, or if you have forgotten, maybe you're coming back to us, in which case, thank you, and we've missed you. The way we do reviews here on Back Row Banter is we basically break it down into 2 distinct sections. That is non-spoilers and then spoilers. So we will go up to a certain point talking about non-spoilers, and then from then on, we're going to spoil the heck out of it. You come back later on if you don't want it to be spoiled, or if you don't care, by all means, listen on through. But we will let you know later on in the timestamp and in the episode itself that you're welcome to come back later to see where everything ranks on our entropy list. So please do come back so you can see where everything is hanging out on there. But the actual review itself basically works like this. In the first segment, I will kind of break down the movie, give you a little bit of background information, when it came out, what it was shot at, things like that. And then we'll go around the circle, kind of give our first honest reactions, and then we'll kind of decide if we would recommend this to a fellow friend or peer. Has to be a yes or no, can't be anything other than that because there is no nuance on the internet. From then on, we'll go full into spoilers mode. So if there is anything we've left out in a little plot summary or anything like that, we'll kind of reveal that information and then dive a little bit deeper into it. But yeah, after that, we'll welcome everyone back, and then get on out of here.
Fantastic.
Thank you. So this is Tu Mamá También. This is, as we've alluded to earlier, is my choice this week because this is one of my favorite movies of all time. Yeah. So it's directed by Alfonso Cuarón, who I personally think is one of the best directors working today. It stars Gael Garcia Bernal and Diego Luna, also starring Maribel Verdú, who the gang may recognize from Pan's Labyrinth as Mercedes.
I did.
She also starred a couple years later, who by Guillermo del Toro, who we do know the class will remember is good friends with Alfonso Cuarón. They came up together out of Mexico. But yeah, so it came out in 2001. This is the movie that Cuarón did before he did the third Harry Potter film. So quite a difference change in topic. But the summary on IMDb goes like this. In Mexico, two teenage boys and an attractive older woman embark on a road trip and learn a thing or two about life, friendship, sex, and each other. And with that, I will kind of throw it around the corner here. What were our initial thoughts, boys, girls? I know this is not an easy film.
Yeah.
This is not a film that gives you easy answers, I would say. I think I've seen this movie so many times that I've kind of it's lost its confrontational value for me. I only kind of see the story now. But there's definitely a moment where I turn on the movie and I look over at Tyler, and Tyler's like, I know nothing about this. And I was like, yeah. And he's like, that's exciting for me. I'm kind of enjoying what this is going to be like. And then the first thing is just bang, two people in bed with each other. And I was like, oh yeah, that's how this movie starts.
Yeah, Nathaniel, you could have warned me, man. I watched it with my girlfriend and then my other buddy Will, and we were all just shocked. And my girlfriend was not happy that I made her watch this movie because her name is Anna, and then in the opening scene, some girl named Anna is getting railed. So you love to see it.
Well,
yeah, it was definitely not.
Have to pick another Cuarón joint.
It was good, I think. I don't know. It's like you said, it was not an easy watch. But it wasn't one that I disliked. I don't know. It would move very fast. I felt like at least a lot of the dialogue, maybe it's because I also had to read the subtitles, and I don't know, the subtitles felt very fast, but they cover a lot of ground. The movie felt a little long to me, but I think it's because how long is the runtime?
It was like hour 40 something.
Hour 46. It felt
Yeah.
longer to me, to be honest, but maybe it's just because they packed so much information into that amount of time that it felt like more things were happening. I don't know. Yeah, it was definitely an interesting movie. I'm not sure if I would recommend it though.
All right, fair enough.
Oh yeah. I'll kind of follow up then on Adam. I mean, this is one where I kind of went in blind, not really knowing what to watch off the strength of Nathaniel's recommendation for his birthday. And as Adam says, you turn it on and it kicks off immediately with two people having sexual intercourse within probably 15 seconds of the movie.
Yeah, I had forgotten it starts with this.
So yeah, and that was kind of like, okay, I think I might know what I'm in for. But it still took some twists and turns. I mean, I like it. The one drawback I can see probably for most people is that you're gonna have to read subtitles, right? The whole movie.
For sure.
But outside of that, man, I mean, it's got a good message to it. The subtitles didn't necessarily draw me out of it, and I'm not a huge subtitle person. So I was still able to kind of swallow the subtitles and keep it going. I like it. I would recommend it. movies like this, or any movie that has this sort of message, or this big of a message to it, just about like life, being aware of yourself, you know what I mean, learning things about other people. I mean, I'm always going to try to recommend that stuff.
Sure, man. Ty?
I enjoyed it. There's a lot here. If you're not really used to these movies, I will say it wasn't as abrupt for me, but then again, I was, watching it with Nathaniel. For all the banging. I mentioned earlier that it gets a little softcore porny.
Very
But
much so.
yeah, I mean,
Very
even
much
maybe even more, a little bit more than softcore, because you do see a lot. But they're not like full blown like porn, shots
Right.
or anything like that. But I think it was done really creatively. I think it was done really well. I think there's some really important messages here. Um, I think the subtitles were a little easier for me. For those of you that don't know, I am half Spanish. I do understand some. I'm not like a fluent expert in Spanish, but I think it was a little bit of an easier watch for me, just because I can get away with not reading the and the ums, the
Right.
so. But yeah, overall, I think it was a really good movie.
Yeah, I mean, I can talk all day about this movie. I think you know, as we've kind of established, this is definitely not your typical Hollywood movie. A little bit of background, this became like the second highest grossing movie, Mexican made movie of all time, within like its like second or third week. It was just a massive hit over there, and it's kind of what drove Corona as a creative director to American audiences, or to Hollywood, I should say. Um, yeah, it's a movie that I don't think could definitely. I don't think if it was made in Hollywood, I don't think it would be made this way. And if it was made in Hollywood, I don't even know how you would tell this story
I don't think
to a
the
traditional
Hollywood
Hollywood
would
audience.
let this movie be made the way that it
Yeah.
was, which I
Well,
think is why it's so unique.
I disagree. I think, my evidence being, "Call Me by Your Name." I think this
Yeah, that movie came out in
lot of
2017. This movie came out in 2001.
true.
I'm just
I would
saying that
say
Hollywood has gotten the part of the
Well,
reason
yeah,
why.
if you're talking about more at the time, then yes.
Yeah, I think
But
I agree with you, Asian, that there has been definitely a push, and Call Me by Your Name, and movies of that style, movies that we talk about a lot, like from
Right.
A24 and that kind of thing,
Mhm.
that definitely push that boundary of independent cinema and what that means for there, have definitely sprung up. But this is a movie that in 2001 no one was making in Hollywood.
okay,
Um,
yeah,
that's kind of my point on that. And
sure.
in that when as we kind of we've referenced several times, there's a lot of nudity in this movie. There's a lot of sex. There's a lot of but its depictions of such things are so outside the Hollywood norm, and
Mhm.
so kind of just not realistic, but because that's such a loaded word, but filmed with a sense of realism, uh,
Mhm.
that I think is very challenging, particularly for audiences that are used to the more mainstream style of photographing those scenes, for sure. Um, I think storytelling wise, this is a triumph. I can definitely understand the subtitle
Hurdle.
hurdle. Yeah. Similar to Tyler, I mean, I grew up in Arizona, so again, not claiming anything, but I can order off a menu in Spanish. And then having studied on my master's degree about these three directors in particular, I definitely got more used to their kind of stuff. So that
Right.
I can definitely see, if you're not used to subtitles, this would definitely be a little bit more tough
Mhm.
to kind of approach. But it's also a movie that not everyone's gonna like. I definitely recommended it for you guys because I think this is another example of genre that is so great, and so against the norm.
Mhm.
Uh, and so it's definitely a movie that's not necessarily entertainment. I think it's very funny. I think it's very sarcastic, which you kind of, I think, can definitely comes through on repeat viewings, because as you kind of get used to the characters a little bit more. Um, but the overall, like we've kind of alluded to a couple times, the heart in this movie is very, very apparent, and
For
very
sure.
kind of earnest, and I think is what it uses a lot and as its kind of currency, its artistic currency. So um yeah, it's a recommend from me. We'll go around it quickly and then kind of go into the spoilers a little bit more. Or like, do we even kind of talk non-spoilers plot summary? Um, if you're listening at this point, basically there's two 18-year-old friends, Diego Luna and Gael Garcia Bernal. They're Tenoch and Julio. They attempt to take a cross-country car ride with Tenoch's cousin's wife, Maribel Verdú, who plays a character named Louisa, to find a beach called Heaven's Mouth that they've basically just made up. And then the story goes along there, kind of recounts their journey as they go out there, and what kind of happens along the way, and what the reasons for the journey may be, and that kind of thing. So that's the non-spoilers plot summary. Coming very late in the review section, but from
I
here
mean,
on out,
you gave the IMDb summary.
true. So recommend from me, Tyler. Where are you at?
Yeah, I say it's definitely worth a watch, especially if you're listening to this first. We've kind of given you the what to expect, even if you don't go into the spoiler stuff. But yeah, I definitely recommend.
Yeah, I'll follow up. I'll co-sign that. I mean, I recommend it. As I said earlier, just movies that kind of just have those personal messages, right? Like a personal growth message, or just people growing up about life and knowing yourself, being aware of sexuality, things of that nature. There's just a much bigger message in the movie than sitting and watching a film. So I would recommend it to somebody.
I don't think I would recommend this movie to most people.
Mhm.
I just think I think the sex of the movie is a lot, and I think the subtitles can overwhelm some people, and I just don't know if a majority of people would enjoy this movie, especially having watched it with two more less enthused people who aren't as enthusiastic about this kind of stuff. I liked it still, and I
Right.
think if you and I
Do you
think
think if you'd watched it by yourself, you would have enjoyed it more?
no, I didn't necessarily take their opinions into account in that regard, but I just um I do think there were some things that were a little. I don't know. I don't know if it was necessarily my kind of movie, but I liked it. Just I don't think everybody would like it.
For sure.
Fair enough.
So my binary recommendation is no, but again, if you wanted a nuanced recommendation, if you're into this kind of movie, if you're into movies like maybe Call You by Your Name or something like that, and you're into film, or you just like movies, then yes. But in general, no. I don't know. I'm kind of mixed on this movie, but
Yeah, out of curiosity, what did your girlfriend and your buddy think of it?
my girlfriend didn't like it very much, and my
Mhm.
buddy liked it, but more was fascinated by it than anything. Uh,
Right.
so I don't know how much of that I don't know how much of it he really liked, but
Mhm. That
yeah,
makes sense.
my girlfriend was just upset about the ending. Kind of, she didn't like how, I won't say, but yeah, she didn't like the ending just because of how it made her feel. So, which is not necessarily the best way to.
It's not an easy movie.
Yeah.
It's like I said, it asks a lot of questions and answers them not necessarily in the way that you're expecting or the way that you're taught to imagine that things are going to be answered.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
All right. Then let's go ahead
Spoilers?
on into the spoiler section here, people. So if you have not seen Tu Mamá También and do not want it spoiled for you, go ahead and check the episode description here, and then I will put the timestamp down there, and then just go ahead and skip to that time, and then you'll be taken to when we're putting the movie on our entropy list. But Nathaniel, without further ado, can you fill in the rest of the plot here for us?
Yeah, so kind of a more breakdown. So we meet Louisa and we understand that she is kind of in a transitory period in her life. She decides to go on this trip with the boys, and during that time manages to sleep with both of them, which kind of upsets their relationship for sure. But then it's kind of revealed over time that the whole situation's kind of been this idealized fantasy anyways, and that life's a lot messier than that.
Mhm.
So it all kind of culminates in that they do end up at a beach that happens to be called Heaven's Mouth. And they spend one kind of last night together, all three of them, and then they all go their separate ways. And in the epilogue, it is revealed that Louisa had died about a month after the group's trip to the beach, and Tinoco and Julio don't really talk anymore. And Louisa has had the test that Louisa received was revealed to be cancer, and that's why she has made this trip all alone. And yeah, that's kind of how the movie ends.
Yeah, it was pretty it hit deep. Um yeah, I didn't necessarily see Louisa having cancer, right? I
See,
think that was
so
probably the biggest surprise to me.
Tyler called it early on.
Really?
So yeah, as soon as she got to the hospital and they took her in, I was like, she's got cancer.
'Cause I remember my first time seeing it, watching it, and going like, "Oh, she's in the hospital. She's getting these tests. I wonder what that's going to come up." And then I was so drawn into the movie, I forgot about it
Mhm.
until the very end
For
again.
sure.
And
I was
so
in the
I was
same boat.
curious, Tyler, if you still consider it was going to be a bigger plot point, or if at any point you kind of forgot about it as well too.
I actually did forget about it as well because if you remember, um, when it was after she had sex with both the kids. I don't want to call them kids. I guess it's really bad to say both the boys.
Right.
I don't. But both the guys.
Yeah.
Um, that they made some kind of reference to the family that they were like hanging out with for like a week, like
Mhm.
going from like beach to beach. She said you should have kids. You're really great with them.
Yeah, and it's kind of
And
a fake
I
out.
was like, well, she's probably got one of theirs because they're just banging everywhere.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I do remember you saying
So
that.
I did actually forget that that was a thing. And then once they finally met up in the end, I was like, oh yeah, I guess that makes sense.
Mhm.
No, Aish, I assume Detective PI Aish was on the case early on.
No, I did not know.
I thought you said that you figured it out. I thought early in the episode you made a reference to something. I thought you had picked the cancer reveal earlier on in the movie. I'm sorry.
No, I'm sorry.
Oh,
I misunderstood what
never
you were
mind.
saying.
So you did not see the twist coming, or did you?
No, I did not. To be honest, I completely forgot about that doctor's office visit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I was so, and that's the subtitles part. I was so invested on having to read the subtitles where I caught her being at the doctor's office, but I was so invested on what the narrator was saying because the narrator
Yeah.
is almost a character itself where he just
Yeah,
kind of progresses the plot.
I was
And
gonna
I
He's
say.
was
in one of Quran's other movies, correct?
Yeah, he's
Okay.
one of the guys that he's worked with before.
okay.
I was gonna
Yeah,
kind of ask what you guys thought of the omniscient narrator.
it was perfect. I loved it. Like I said, but I was so caught on what he was saying. I had to read the subtitles, and that's where she was saying, like, hey, she took a personality test and found out that she's not a happy woman and things of that nature. It's like that's what I was so busy like trying to dissect that and not really focusing on, like the actual film. And then finally when it came back and said she had cancer, I was like, she did go to the doctor. I remember that. But it's good, man. The character development's good. I really like the narrator. And you said he was in another film with the director?
Well, so Caron has used a lot of his actors again, multiple times. So he was in an earlier film. The not the same character, but the actor who plays the narrator was in one of Caron's earlier films.
Gotcha.
Um,
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of really well done academic research on this film in relation to what people call the two Mexicos, which ideally is the Mexico that you see through the interactions of Tanoch, Julio, and Luisa, and then also the Mexico that you see from the camera. Because the camera in particular in this movie is very vibrant and lively in its own ways. and that coupled with the narrator who is describing again a lot of times these much more civilian, lower working class life that
For sure.
occurs around the characters. That has been given a lot of research on there that I'm not going to delve into because I don't have enough background in it to really do it justice. But if anyone's interested in that, you can definitely find that research on there. So that's where a lot of the kind of academic scope of this film has been studied, because this thing's been studied a lot.
I could see
For
that.
sure.
And
But yeah, I think for me, I can see how the film is shocking in some ways, particularly if I was seeing it in the kind of the setting that Adam was talking about.
for sure.
For me, I do kind of understand and sympathize with that. I think this movie, it's written so well. Cuarón's particularly famous for his long shots. So you have multiple shots in here that are pushing 4 or 5 minutes in length, and that may be why you felt like it was a little bit longer than you're used to, Adam,
Yeah.
or why it was in there. But in particular, shot on the beach with them drinking in the tequila bar, that's like
Yeah.
7 minutes.
Mhm.
I think this movie, it's, for me, it signifies the death of adolescence. We have so many stories and so many narratives centered around the death of innocence. We don't have as much of kind of this cultural heritage or even storytelling heritage of the death of adolescence, of that, where adulthood and what can happen in adulthood, but you haven't experienced it yet. And you
Mhm.
have kind of this kind of quasi bravado about it. And that's the thing that I love about this movie, is that these guys' sexual fantasy comes true, but then
Right.
the sexual fantasy pushes back.
Right.
That's that kind of thing. And like, it's even down to like little storytelling details too. Like, each of the guys' sex scenes with Louisa, they both last the exact same amount of time. And like down to the second on there.
Mhm.
And then like little stuff that you get from the storytelling tradition out of the Southwest and Mexico, like the beach being revealed to actually be real. And it's
Mhm.
just kind of this fake name that they come up with, and then it turns out, well, no, that's actually a real beach, and they go there and that kind of thing. So it builds in this kind of magical realism element to it as well. Yeah, I'm rambling on now. I can talk probably another 45 minutes about this, but we've already done kind of a long episode here too. So
Yeah, no worries. But I mean, yeah, I mean, I'm with you. Like I said, for this movie to tackle, um, like homosexuality and all those types of things in the year of 2001 is crazy in itself. You know what I mean? Like, that's when like a lot of homosexuality and things of that nature were already super taboo. You know what I mean? If you can even go on record saying they're not taboo now, you know.
Right.
So yeah, it's it's certainly a big spoon, you know, but I mean, if you're into art and you're into cinema, I think you would appreciate it. But like Adam's saying, I can see it not being for the average viewer, right? So the people who are just like, hey, I want to go and I want to see a popcorn movie or something like that. I mean, you're going to be like blindsided by this thing within 5 minutes.
Yeah, like, this isn't a movie you want to recommend to your parents.
No, absolutely not.
Unless your parents are cool.
Unless your parents are really cool.
Sure. My dad might like it. You think
Yeah.
you think Papa Schwartz would like it, Adam?
Papa Schwartz has seen it before.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think my dad has seen it, but I'm sure if I were to run it by him and he sit down and watch it, he'd be like, "Oh, that was pretty good."
Yeah, I think Papa Schwartz said he liked it.
Yeah,
I
I just
remember.
I like Nathaniel's saying, it's kind of the death of adolescence. They're both like, this is their last summer before they're going off to college, and I think it's just shot really well. I like the fact that their friendship is driven from this code that they have, and then throughout the movie you just find out that the code is complete and utter bullshit.
Yes. Yeah.
The Charlie Lastro.
Yep. And then towards the end of the movie, that you find out that they bang each other's girlfriends, and they said they only did it once, and then sooner or later they're having like this tequila scene at the end of the movie, and then they admit that they've done it a couple different times, and then Julio goes on to tell to Noche that he
Tu
banged
Mamá
his
También.
mom.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. And so that's funny for those of you that, don't know what Tu Mamá También translates to. It's and your mother too. And that's basically exactly what he says. He says, I banged your mom too. Which is really funny. There is some really great sarcasm here. I can't tell you how many times that I've told my friends that, jokingly, like, I've banged your mom. So yeah, there's some really good things that happen here, and there's a lot of innocence that gets destroyed, and but there's a good sense of becoming an adult, letting go of those things that once bothered you as a kid, or growing up. You get really jealous as a young man, when your girlfriend even looks at another guy, especially going off to like Europe or something like that. And as you get older, your wife is probably like, God, that kid, that guy's hot, and you're like, that guy is hot. And
sure.
so there's a sense of maturity about it, and yeah, I think it's done really well, and I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I mean, sorry, I won't. I'll be in and out real quick, but like I think it's the fact that it's two males at the age of 17, 18, and an older woman, and that's your core like cast. I think it's such a unique setup. We're so used to the reverse or something like that with the much older male star, much younger female romantic interest. I feel like everyone's character motivation makes sense. If I got cancer news like that, and that was kind of like what had happened, who knows what I would do? There's nothing
sure,
saying
right.
that I
Nobody
wouldn't
knows what
just
they would
take
do.
off. Right, and like from her, you totally understand why she reacts the way she does, and kind of what her goal is and everything. And then again, for those guys, it's that weird situation that they find themselves in, and kind of that first kind of step into adulthood, into what truly situations that matter, and then how they kind of fall short of their own expectations too. Later on, when Tenoch is revealed to be in economics and Julio's in biology still, and that kind of life moves on, and life, things change, and that's okay, and that's also life. Like, you had kind of a final thought there before I interrupted.
Yeah, no worries. And I would say you're spot on. But I'd say the one funny thing that kind of got lost to me, and that's just in translation and reading subtitles and everything. At first, until about probably maybe 3/4 the way through the movie, I thought Louisa was the actual cousin. And I was like,
Oh,
wow, this is really strange. And then, and then it
Yeah.
finally came to me, and I was like, okay, no, she's just married to the cousin.
Yeah, and
Um,
again, that goes into even more like situations in Mexico, because she's from Madrid,
correct.
and from Spain, and
Mhm.
how that's kind of interwoven with Tenoch's family, who is definitely more Spanish, but like named Tenoch after an Aztec leader.
Mhm.
And that you have kind of this background story of the corruption of the upper class in Mexico, um, and how kind of Luisa, as this upper class tourist from other areas, how she finds life in the soul of Mexico, as they talk about so often and everything. So
Mhm.
Nathaniel, I'm glad to hear you talk about this movie, because I can tell you cared so much about it, and I can tell you've done your research, and I'm sure if I looked into this movie enough, and saw all the things that are into it like that, because you just talked a lot about all these small things that are interwoven into the movie, and I love stuff like that. So I'm sure if I looked into them more, I'd like it more. On a surface level, just off my viewing, I liked it. I didn't dislike it, so don't take my not recommending it to the general person as I
oh
didn't
no,
like
that's
it,
okay. I understand.
because
Like I totally do.
I did. I did like it. I thought it had a really good story too, a really heartwarming story. And I like what it said about it's like you said, how things happen in life, and you kind of just got to move on, and people come and go, experiences come and go, and that kind of stuff just happens. And uh, yeah, no, I definitely liked it, and it's directed. The directing is fantastic. There are a lot of great shots, um, and that's kind of what I took away from it the most, is that, and the writing too was good, even when I could keep up with the subtitles, because it did move a little fast for me. But At least sometimes it did to me.
I think
I also was pretty tired, but
no, I think you guys' point on the subtitles is definitely noted. I think I kind of forget about it because I watch everything with subtitles too, and I have since I was like 11. So it's also just ingrained in my brain.
Usually I can keep up. I think I was just a little bit tired last night.
They do speak fast too, and that's
Yeah.
actually that comes up in another one of Cuarón's movies called Roma, which is on Netflix, which is a fantastic film as well. But there's actually, and I didn't even know this for a long time, but there's two different kind of dialects in Mexico. So there's this kind of Spanish, which is a lot slower, and then Mexican Spanish, which is quite a bit faster. But then there's also kind of a third mixture, which is some Spanish with the kind of ancient Aztec language as well, which is called Mixtec. But that's another plot point in Rome as well. So Cuarón's made a couple movies about Mexico, and that's something that you see in both him and Del Toro's and González Iñárritu, who's his other directing compadre. They're often their narratives are a lot of times tied into the geography of a region as well. So again, if as listeners can probably tell, this was a lot of my research. So I'll quit talking now, but maybe we'll go over some movies that I did more kind of research on at another time if folks are interested in that or anything. But I'm glad you guys enjoyed it, even if it was like a little bit more intense viewing session. I think for listeners who may not know, the kind of emotional engagement is I would say is kind of on the level of the Requiem for a Dream or something like that in this movie, in kind of a different way, but also like same level.
Yeah, I was actually just about to say that too. As soon as I was like, well, what do you guys think is more of a difficult viewing? Because I mean, I think that's just as difficult for anybody who knows people who've struggled with like drug abuse or anything of that nature, you know? So
I mean, for me, this movie is just a pleasure to watch. Like I get sucked into it every time. I don't have a hard time watching this by any means, but like Requiem, I think is more of a I got to sit down and watch Requiem today. But I can also understand how I'm very biased, so I'd be interested to hear your guys' answers on that.
Yeah, what do you guys think, Tom?
I think Requiem is probably a little bit harder for me. I don't see this movie that hard to watch. I never grew up with like my family was never like compromising of like sexuality. It was very okay to, like be what you want to be.
Sure.
I have a lot of gay friends. I think I've witnessed friends with drug issues, so I think that's a little bit harder for me to watch because I have a little bit more of an emotional tie to that. Whereas this wasn't that hard to watch. I think this was just overall a really well put together film.
Yeah. What do you think, Adam?
Just for clarity's sake, so we don't get emails in the future or anything like that too. This film definitely falls into the Q of the LGBTQ acronym for sure.
Absolutely.
There's definitely some questions that are asked. But yeah, go ahead, Adams. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I would probably pick this one over Requiem. Probably, I think this movie would serve much more for replay value than Requiem does. Because I feel like I'd pick up more and more each time. It's one of those kind of movies, and I can appreciate it for that. So yeah, I'll probably have to pick this one over Requiem.
Yeah, fair enough.
Let's see where it goes on the list. Let's get everyone back here.
Sure, yeah. Let's welcome back the listeners who decided to skip over the spoiler section of the podcast. We are going to go ahead and put this movie on our entropy list. For those of you who do not know, the entropy list is Back Row Banter's official list of every movie we've reviewed, regardless of genre, all on one fantastic list. If you want to find the entropy list, you can do so in the description. It is on my Letterboxd. But without further ado here, Nathaniel, where would you like to place this?
Who we give it to Nathaniel first?
Yeah, you know what? We might as well get it out of the way.
Yeah, let's see it.
So yeah, I mean, if again, as we always kind of reference on this part of the podcast, if this was my personal list or something like that, which we may do at a later date or something, this would obviously rank near the top. If I had my druthers and I could just rank this anywhere, like based on the list right now, this one, like I would probably put this one. I'd go Shining, Labyrinth, and then this one, and those two can swap back and forth. But I can't do that, so I'm going to put it ahead of the movie we were just talking about, ahead of Requiem, just below Green Room.
Okay, fair.
I'll just chime in because that's exactly where I was going to suggest that it goes as well.
Blake?
Yeah, I'll squeeze there then. I mean, I was actually gonna put it after Requiem. I felt like I think it's just probably because I personally just kind of connected more to that movie, just like how Tyler said. I mean, I have had people who I've held near and dear to my heart struggle with drug abuse and things of that nature. So that movie really gets to me. But nonetheless, that's still the same ballpark. I mean, that means I'm putting it at 12. You guys are setting it at what, 11?
Yeah.
So what are you thinking, Adam?
I'm right in that same range. I kind of like it more than Rec Room, and I think the biggest factor for me might be the replay value of it.
Mm-hmm.
I think I would go back and watch Tu Mamá También way before I would watch Requiem, and I think I'd also it's hard to recommend either of those movies.
Yeah.
Visually,
And I-
so interesting in that they're very similar in that they work so much in camera, but are also very different from each other in how they work the camera. Like where Requiem is so many fast cuts.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
And Tu Mamá is just very much slowed down those kind of long drawn shots.
Agreed. Yeah, I would probably, you know what, I think I'll go in at 11 with you guys. I think that's a good spot for it, right before
Requiem.
right before Rec Room and right after Green Room.
Yeah, I can
sure.
live with that.
I don't think it's top. I don't think it's top 10 worthy.
Okay. I'm cool with that.
And I don't think it's better than. I just enjoy Green Room more. I wouldn't. I don't know. I'm
Green
sure
Room's
if
just
you get it.
freaking enjoyable
a
film,
solid
man.
film.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly, man. It's just so good. Yeah.
It's so good at what it is.
Yeah.
And like you would keep saying, it's like, yeah, I like it, but I wouldn't recommend it to somebody or to a certain demographic of people. And the Green Room is literally a film like you can almost get anybody to watch that and they'd be like, oh wow, that's pretty fucking good. You know,
like,
so
holy shit, what did you show me? That was insane.
For sure.
Yeah.
So Green Room's definitely that 10 piece.
11 it is.
All right. 11 it is. Our next topic, guys, for next week's episode is gonna be Wonder Woman. That's right. We're doing the original Wonder Woman. This is 2017, I believe, was the year. And then the week after we're gonna do Wonder Woman 1984 because by then it will be on HBO Max. Or sorry, yes, that's right.
HBO Max.
Because it's coming out on Christmas Day.
Yep.
And so that'll be the week after. So this is gonna be my first watch for Wonder Woman actually. So I'm excited. Been meaning to get around to it.
We'll be in person for that, theoretically, yeah.
Theoretically, we'll see. We'll have to talk about what we're doing for
there may be a visit from someone like the Back Row Banter clause. Who knows? We'll see. We'll bit of sizzle.
Right. We'll make it happen.
Huh. Okay. Yeah, so we'll be doing Wonder Woman. That's currently streaming on HBO Max, I believe. So go ahead and check that out. Nathaniel, do you have a 5-star review? I don't know if we've checked.
I haven't even checked. Yeah,
I know we didn't check last week, and I'm not sure if we checked the week before. But
I believe I checked last week. I thought I did, but let's find out. Tyler Phil. Oh boy.
Hey guys, Filling here. New job's going great.
oh yeah, how is the new store?
It's good. They got some rough patches, but we'll get there.
Yeah.
We do not have a new 5-star review. If you would like to give us a 5-star review, we will say it on the podcast, whatever it is, but it just has to be 5 stars. So let us know. We know you're out there. It's free. You can do it in app.
Yeah.
You can.
Yeah, you can do it in an app. It's great. All right. Yeah, please share the podcast. Share with a friend, a family member,
An older lady you meet at a wedding.
there you go.
Or people you travel across the country with in a car.
Those two.
Yeah, man.
If you guys are doing,
Hey,
if you're doing any
podcast-
like carpool,
Podcasts are great for road trips. So just
They are.
just say, hey, I have this great podcast. It's called Back Row Banter. The host is so handsome. He's got the best voice in the world. And then there's also Nathaniel. His voice is pretty good.
yeah, it's
And,
alright.
And then and there's Blake. Blake's voice vibrates my headphones because my headphones have a little bit of haptic feedback. So whenever he talks, he vibrates my head. It's hilarious. And then you got Tyler. I mean,
Some people pay for that.
he's
Hey
Tyler.
guys, it's me.
Yeah, there you go. If you want to follow the show, you can do so on Twitter at Banter Row. Please go there. That's the best place for updates and stuff. And speaking of updates, I do want to apologize for the last 2 episodes. Technical difficulties. There have been the last 2 episodes, 2 spots, I think, in each episode, maybe 2 or 3, where audio cuts out for a little bit. I'm not sure what's happening. I'm looking into it, trying to fix it. We're gonna have to figure some stuff out. But
We'll figure it out. Mainly Adam, but yeah, we'll definitely figure it out and get it sorted out. I think if we end up doing the next pod together, I think Nathaniel's got a gadget we can probably
Yeah.
get on.
Exactly.
That might be able to sort some of those issues. So
yeah,
we should be good.
yeah.
Figure it out.
Yeah, on Instagram, if you want to follow us there, we're at Back Pod. Our YouTube is just Back Row Banter. And if you want to contact us for any questions, comments, concerns, grievances, anything of the sort, you can do so at our email, which is backrowbanterpod@gmail.com. But BlakeHolder, if the people want to find you, man, where can they do so?
Yeah, man. Letterboxd. Sorry, I was drinking. Water, that is, not alcohol at 10:30.
Chibby.
Yeah, Letterboxd. So that'll be me, BlakeHolder. We'll be on there. So I'll be in there logging some stuff, adding some stuff to the queue, things I need to get to. And next up's Wonder Woman, which I actually haven't seen that in some time. I saw that in theaters, but I maybe watched it once since then. So it's actually going to be kind of pretty fresh for me too. And we'll see how it goes from there. I'll pass it off to we'll go to Adam today.
Oh, wow. Well, I did not figure out my Twitter and
Wow.
Letterboxd situation. I still have the reminder on my phone though. Maybe I'll get to it sometime this week. Probably not, though. Finals are stressful. But my Twitter is at @mschwartzy, and then my Letterboxd is that or Aish, whichever one. And then I'm also on Twitch. I will be streaming hopefully soon. I'm gonna bring my PC set up home. It's gonna be a pain in the ass to lug home, but
Wow.
I won't have as much. I'll have a little bit more time
Dedication.
over break. So yeah. Hopefully I'll be able to get some streams in. And then yeah, that's twitch.tv/Aish. I don't know if I said that yet. Nathaniel?
You can find me, folks, at NS Gingrich on both Twitter and Letterboxd. You can find me on Instagram at NathanielG92. Follow my other account, Sandpiper Tapes. Just look up Sandpiper Tapes on Twitter and Instagram. You'll find it. We're working in the lab on some more stuff with that. Hopefully coming soon-ish after the turn of the year. But hopefully you'll be able to see some more stuff going out there. And I might be doing some other things here soon. So we'll see. But yeah. Ty, where are you at? We gonna Twitch stream?
You can find me on Twitch every now and then. Trying to get a plan together on when we can get some other stuff done.
We need a whiteboard for our plan.
We do need a whiteboard. That would be something to invest in. But yeah, that's El Trabajo 87, ELTRABAJO 87, and then Instagram, Letterboxd, and Twitter are all Tyler Vidales, VIDALES.
Boom. Well,
There
that
you
brings us
have
to the end of another great episodes of Back Row Banter. Aish, give us the end here.
Oh yeah, I thought you were taking over, man.
Nah,
give us
I
the end.
wanted I was setting you up.
All right. Are you the setter here? I'm gonna go for the spike.
Yeah, I've set you up perfectly now.
All right,
Bring
well
us on home.
let's spike on out of here. This has been episode 29 of Back Row Banter. Tu Mamá También. Thank you guys
One
for
away
joining.
from Dirty 30.
Ooh, I'm excited. Yeah, join us next week for Wonder Woman. We'll be RB.
Be excellent to each other, and we will be RB.
Stay safe out there. Tell someone you love them. Buy all the presents for the people. You know, Christmas is about giving. But yeah, BRB.
Yeah. as they all kind of said here, this is a time when should kind of be enjoy. Obviously, some people aren't down due to family members not being around, COVID, and things of that nature. Try to stay positive. Final shout out on there. Happy belated birthday to Nathaniel. What did you turn? 28?
28, folks.
28. So
28.
yeah, happy belated to Nathaniel. We had
Thank
a
you very
great
much.
pick we threw on there for the movie list. And yeah, we'll BRB.
I'm American. Ready for another lesson.
Ready? I don't know what Ty's doing over there. It's like rearranging his whole setup. And I can't see him because our walls are up. What?
It doesn't have any kind of fucking signal.
Hold on. What do you mean? It was on your X.
Fucking booted up something and now it's not fucking showing anything.
What happened? He's out of commission?
No, I literally booted up a fucking game and then it did like literally nothing.
What game?
Let's just get going. It's like fucking 9 o'clock already.
Yeah, I think he stepped away, but I'm with it for sure. Otherwise, we're gonna be in here till fucking. Oh man.
So are you power cycling or what's going on?
I'm just gonna try and not to be pissed off.
Is it your Xbox, bro?
Yeah.
Have they been like traditionally having problems with this thing, or I don't
Not
even
that
know
I'm
any of the-
aware of.
Yeah, I don't even know any of the words on that.
I mean, have you even done a basic on off with it yet?
Mhm.
Got it.